Birthday candles. You've blown them out every year of your life. You think it's ancient. You think it's a tradition. You think it carries a meaning that predates corporations, advertising, and the modern world. But most of it doesn't. The birthday cake as you know it today, layered, frosted, with a specific number of candles, a song, a wish, a blow, is not a folk tradition that emerged organically over centuries. It is a commercial construction, assembled piece by greeting card companies, sugar manufacturers, and paraffin candle producers to create repeat purchases every single year. Hallmark didn't invent the birthday, but they industrialized it. And the candle, the thing that feels the most sacred, the most ancient, the most beyond commercial influence, has a history that will change how you see birthday cakes from now on. Here's what no one tells you. The modern birthday candle, as a standardized consumer product, did not exist until the 20th century. The practice of placing candles on cakes existed in fragments across different cultures. But that specific ritual you perform every year, candles equal to your age, a single breath, a silent wish, the song, that sequence was not an ancient tradition. It was a manufactured behavioral script, distributed in coordination by greeting card culture, retail promotions, and the paraffin candle industry toward a single goal: to sell you something every year, on the same day, without exception. Let's first clarify what was truly ancient, and what wasn't. The Greeks placed round honey cakes on the altar of Artemis during lunar festivals. The cakes were round to represent the moon. Candles were placed on them so they would glow, to imitate moonlight. This is a documented fact. But this was a religious act, not a birthday ritual, not a personal celebration. The cakes were not for individuals. They were for the goddess. The connection between this Greek practice and the modern birthday cake has been repeatedly questioned by historians. It feels continuous, but it isn't. There is a gap of more than 1,000 years with no documentation connecting the two. The next recorded instance of cakes with candles appears in 18th century Germany. Kinderfest, a children's birthday celebration practice in German-speaking regions. A cake was prepared. Candles were placed on it, one for each year of age, plus one additional candle representing the light of life or hope for the coming year. This is closer. This is a genuine precursor. But Kinderfest was a regional, class-specific practice. It was not universal. It was not standardized. Different families did it differently. There was no fixed song, no fixed ritual, no commercial infrastructure behind it. The leap from Kinderfest to the globally standardized birthday ritual you know today did not happen through organic cultural diffusion. It happened very quickly through American commercial industrialization. The American greeting card industry was in its early expansion phase. Hallmark Cards was founded in 1910 by Joyce Hall. Its first products were postcards. By 1915, Hallmark had shifted to greeting cards. By the 1920s, they had identified something critical. Purchases are driven not by emotions, but by occasions. Occasions. Christmas was already established as a card-sending event. Valentine's Day was in place. But birthdays, occurring once a year for every living person, represented a theoretically unlimited purchasing opportunity. Everyone in the world had a birthday. Every birthday meant a potential card sale. And every card sale reinforced the idea that a birthday was a socially significant event that required acknowledgement. Hallmark's strategy in the 1920s and 1930s was not to sell cards. It was to sell the obligation to send them. They funded etiquette guides. They placed articles in women's magazines that framed birthday recognition as a social norm. They collaborated with department stores to create birthday displays, positioning card sending as a baseline marker of social competence. If you didn't send a birthday card, you were socially failing. Hallmark created that standard, then sold the solution. But a card needs context. A card refers to an event. And that event, the party, the cake, the candles, had to be standardized as well for the card to feel meaningful. Hallmark needed the birthday ritual to exist in a specific, visual, recognizable form. Because that form would appear on their cards. And the cards would reinforce that form. A closed loop of cultural production. Now, the industrial side that almost no one talks about. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, paraffin wax became extremely cheap. It was a byproduct of petroleum refining, essentially waste that had previously been discarded or sold with minimal profit. Standard Oil and its successor companies were producing paraffin in quantities they struggled to sell. It needed markets. Candle manufacturers identified birthday cakes as a scalable use case. A birthday candle is a minimal product, thin, short, requiring very little raw material. But it is purchased annually by every family with children. And unlike functional candles that burn gradually, a birthday candle is fully consumed in a single use. Every birthday requires a new purchase. This is a perfect consumable product. Guaranteed obsolescence. Annual replacement cycle. No durability competition. The candle industry began standardizing birthday candles in the early 20th century. Thin, tapered forms. Pastel colors, pink, blue, yellow, white, chosen specifically to photograph well and reproduce clearly in print media as color printing became commercially viable. The colors were not chosen for tradition, but for visual clarity in catalogs and advertisements. The one candle per year of age convention was reinforced through product packaging. Candle sets were sold in fixed counts. The counting ritual, one candle per year, was printed in etiquette guides distributed by card companies and department stores. The ritual and the product were engineered together. Now, the song, Happy Birthday to You, is the most widely recognized song in the English language, possibly in the world. It began in 1893 as Good Morning to All, a classroom greeting song written by sisters Mildred and Patty Hill, both teachers in Louisville, Kentucky. The melody was simple, repetitive, and designed for children to sing. At some point, the historical record is disputed. Someone adapted the melody with birthday lyrics in the late 1890s or early 1900s. The song spread informally through schools and communities. Here is where the corporate story begins. In 1935, the Summy Company registered a copyright for a specific piano arrangement of Happy Birthday to You. The claim was questionable from the start, but it was registered. And for the next 80 years, the company that held that copyright, later Warner Chappell Music, collected licensing fees for any commercial use of the song. Film studios, television productions, restaurants, any commercial use required a license. Between 1935 and 2016, when a federal court finally ruled the copyright invalid, the song generated an estimated $50 million in licensing revenue. $50 million. From a melody written for a classroom. Collected by a music publisher with no role in its creation. The song felt ancient. The revenue stream was entirely modern, and largely sustained by a legally questionable claim that went unchallenged for decades. The birthday cake itself also needs examination. In the 18th and early 19th centuries, celebration cakes were expensive. Refined sugar was costly. Frosted layered cakes required skill. Such a cake was a display of wealth and domestic capability. It was special because it was difficult and expensive to make. The industrialization of sugar in the mid-19th century changed that. By the early 20th century, sugar was cheap and widely available. But the birthday cake as a standardized cultural object, layered, frosted, visually consistent, still needed a delivery mechanism. That mechanism was the box cake mix. General Mills introduced Betty Crocker cake mixes in the 1940s. The first versions were complete, just add water. They failed. Consumer research showed that homemakers felt the product was too easy. It removed their sense of contribution. It didn't feel like baking. It felt like opening a box. General Mills' solution was psychologically precise. They removed the powdered egg and required consumers to add a fresh egg. Just one. Sales increased dramatically. That single egg created what we now call the IKEA effect, the tendency to value things more when we partially create them ourselves. The homemaker cracked the egg. She felt she had made the cake, and the cake became hers. General Mills didn't improve the product. They improved the feeling of making it. And that feeling is exactly what made the birthday cake feel authentic. They engineered a sense of authenticity into a manufactured product. And it worked completely. By the 1950s, every element of the modern birthday ritual was commercially supplied and reinforced. Hallmark produced the card that established the social obligation. Department stores sold decorations. General Mills supplied the cake mix. The paraffin industry produced standardized pastel candles. Warner or Chappell collected licensing fees on the song. And every magazine, every etiquette column, every store display reinforced the same sequence. Card, cake, candles, song, wish, blow. This is the correct way to celebrate a birthday. Not one element of this system emerged organically from folk tradition. Every element was commercially introduced, standardized, and reinforced through interconnected promotional systems. Today, the birthday industry in the United States generates approximately $16 billion annually. Cards, cakes, candles, decorations, gifts. $16 billion, built on a ritual largely assembled between 1910 and 1960. The emotional weight of the ritual is real. The memories are real. The love is real. But the structure of the ritual, its sequence, its products, its symbols, was designed, not discovered. So what remains when you remove the commercial layer? People have always marked time. People have always gathered around those they love. People have always used fire, light, and food to signal that a life has value. That impulse is ancient. That impulse is human. But the candle on your cake tonight is a petroleum byproduct, manufactured to standardized dimensions and colors chosen for catalog visibility. The cake beneath it comes from a mix engineered to require one egg because it makes people feel more involved. The song you sang was written as a classroom greeting and monetized for decades under a disputed copyright claim. The card on the table exists because a company created a social obligation to buy it every year. None of this reduces what the birthday means to the people in the room. But it should change how you understand where the ritual came from. Hallmark didn't invent birthdays. Humans did. But Hallmark, along with General Mills, the paraffin industry, and Warner Chappell Music, turned birthdays into a commercial event. They took a universal human impulse, gave it a purchasable form, and reinforced that form through every available media channel until it felt timeless. That is the most sophisticated thing a corporation can do. Not sell you a product. Sell you a ritual. Make the product feel like the ritual itself. And then collect revenue from it every single year, on the same day, for your entire life. The candle on your cake is not ancient. It is a business model. Let us know in the comments what we should cover next. Thanks for watching.